for our segments. Let's pivot to today's topic.
Yes.
How to earn more and do less is essentially what it is as an artist. Is that possible, Frank? Can you do it? Is that
You definitely can. It's
because
possible.
I mean the way it's looking, I don't know, man. We gotta make the beat. We gotta record ourselves. We gotta mix the beat. We gotta do the photo shoot. We gotta be the creative director. We gotta edit it. We gotta be the copywriter for the reels. We gotta do all the things.
Golly, bro.
How to,
no, I think it's
yeah, man.
possible.
So yeah, man, I was brainstorming this because I got a question, I guess, for all of the artists I want to throw out there. Like, how many hours? Just ask yourself, how many hours did you spend last week on stuff, for your music career that had nothing to do with actually making music? That's the first question.
Yeah.
Second question I got for y'all is, how much of that time could have been spent on things that you maybe actually care about or would really want to give your time to, whether that's connecting with your fans, growing your catalog, starting a new business idea, spending time with your family, but you just feel like you're stuck in the weeds of just important things, but maybe they're just lower prioritized when it comes to needle moving activities within your music career and your music business. And I just seen that as a problem. Artists are running a music career that they feel like, they never signed up for. And I've also noticed that artists being busy or feeling busy, doesn't always equal productivity. You know what I mean? Like, you doing more doesn't mean that you're productive. You know what I mean? And productive means it's actually, moving you significantly closer to the things that matter, versus smaller things that only push it, kind of inches forward. Like, what are those things that kind of, help you take bigger steps towards your goal? I do also see that there's in the purest sense of ignorance around, like, ignorance and just meaning not knowing how to actually delegate parts of your process in your music career. You know what I mean? Like, how do you delegate out the things in your music career, especially when you feel like maybe the budget is low, or maybe you just don't even know what I can offload, you know what I mean, to get my time back to be the artist that I signed up to be. And then also, not realizing where you may be the bottleneck in your own career, aka, where you're actually, just kind of stuck. But the thing is, there is hope for all of this stuff. Like, all of these problems that we're I'm proposing, there is hope. And as you want to talk about how you can, regain your time, and also how that regaining of time can also make you more profitable, as an artist. And, this is one of the ones I kind of just sprung this on. Frank was like, yo, I'll probably lead this a little bit more, but obviously I want your thoughts and your opinions and your perspective on this stuff. Cause I've gone through this whole, and again, I'm not anywhere close to where I ultimately want to be, in my music career, but there were some things that I've intentionally did to help me in my day to day kind of regain more time, like feel more fulfilled doing the things that I desire to do more within my music career versus all of the other things that I just don't desire to do. You know what I mean? And how can I create more, runway and freedom and mental space and mental capacity to create within my music career, but also how can that translate to actual revenue? How can that translate to more profitability? And so for me, before, and this is, I always talk about it, and again, we're going to have to plan a whole systems like episode. Man, because that's really big and near to my heart, and that's one of the things that unlocked a lot for me. Because before I was, so system minded, like I was juggling so many things. I'm a multi-hyphenate creative. Like I was I can design your artwork, I can produce your track, I can record you, I can mix it, I can do your photo shoot, I can build your website, I can edit your video, I can write your copy, I can strategize, like I can do a lot of things, and I was doing a lot of things at one point, and that was the problem. Like that was the problem, because as a and I think when you start shifting your mindset to that of a CEO, or that of a truly as the leadership of your career, you start to think about, what are the things that only I can do? Like, what are the things that only I can do in my music career? And also, how do I become more resourceful in asking the question, not, how can I get this done, but, who is within, my network that might be able to help, complete these things, or take over some of these responsibilities that I'm currently doing. And I know the question that comes up is like, well, how do you do that with, little budget, little income, music is not making any money, like stream is not paying anything. Like, it's hard. And that's why I love licensing so much, because there's a lot of, things that, I don't have to check off the list in order to monetize my music. That's a separate conversation. But say you are in a traditional route, or even if you are trying to do licensing, because there's still, hurdles to climb with that. You can still fall into the trap of doing everything versus offloading, delegating, to give yourself the mental capacity to think of income producing ideas, or even just to, have more time to enjoy your life, yourself, your family, ideate on new ventures and all that other kind of stuff. Because I know every artist I want to talk to, they want to do six figures, they want to start other businesses, they want to get into real estate, they want to do all of these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just like, but how? You know what I mean? So I wanted to go through some resources and some mindset shifts that helped me. But any thoughts on that?
No, I would love to hear those, because I do think, before I say them, we'll probably be very much aligned. In it, I think, if I can generalize it before we get into specifics, mindset shift is, for me, probably the absolute foundation to all of this. Like, if you don't train your mind to think a certain way, and that then in turn makes you move a certain way, you will find yourself repeating the same processes. So that's all I got to say. I would love to hear you roll out the stuff that you have.
Yeah, so I have and I don't know if it's a framework, but these are just resources and mindset shifts, practices that I've adopted that I felt have really given me my time back, helped me to make more money, keep me focused, get my sanity back, help me to actually afford being able to hire on team, and also, be with my family. Like, I'm able to work from home, and I was able to, like, I'm able to spend more quality time with my daughter. Like, I'm with my daughter literally every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not just with her every day. It's just like, I'm involved in her, like, the majority of her day. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? But I was able to do that just because of some of these shifts that I made over a series of years. And this is, it wasn't overnight. Like, some of the resources started, like, I think the first book that I got was around maybe 2015, 16 or something like that. So like 10 years ago. And it's just been stacking, these different strategies. But so some of the resources that have helped me, and mindset shifts that helped me, was and I'm going to name some of the books and kind of segue to what those really translate to, practically. So there's a book called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And it's the best time management book that I have ever read. And it's very practical. And what is the whole idea of it is how to do your highest value creative work first, and really guarding your time, because your brain is a muscle, you know what I mean? And that's why when I get up in the morning, like, I don't check my phone, my text messages, all that kind of stuff. Is like, I'm priming my mind first. And then when I get into my day, I'm analyzing what are the high, like, what what are going to be the tasks that are going to drive the most results for me towards the goals that I've set? And we talked about in other podcasts, like really identifying what is the, success for you. What are those goals? And I need to be able to say, I need to identify the activities that are going to be most effective, going to drive the most results towards that thing, and only do that first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, or some version of that, because some people might work a 9 to 5, which you could talk about as well. But prioritizing they call it the frog. That's why the book is called Eat That Frog. And the idea behind it is like, if I start my day off by eating a live frog, this is from the book. I start my day off by eating a live frog every day. I'll go throughout the rest of the day with the satisfaction knowing that that was the worst thing that I had to do. And what that means is, you could probably, guess is, we have a lot of, we have probably an endless to-do list, you know what I mean? And everything feels like it needs to be prioritized. And I don't know if you've had that time in your day where you done, you feel like you did so much, but at the end of the day, you feel like you did nothing. Like you feel like you didn't, nothing moved the needle. And that's because intuitively and instinctually, what it is that is actually, most important, and most important, which you should be focusing on. And if you were to reverse that, to start on that first, and even if that's the only thing you did and you didn't get any of those other things done, you would feel so satisfied at the end of the day. It's like, this is moving me closer to my goal, where all these other little things didn't. And why you do it first is because your brain is a muscle. You know what I mean? Like, just like any other, like if you're going to the gym, you know what I mean? It's like, it's probably better for you to do some of your heavier lifting earlier, because as you continue your, your training, your muscles are going to start to fatigue. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to lift as much anymore. Same thing with your brain. If you start doing your deepest mental work early on, you'll be most effective towards that thing, but also like, the smaller things you can, be able to take advantage of. But if you give your most optimal brain energy to smaller things, when you try to, tackle the bigger thing at the end of the day, you're just tapped out, and you just you're going to procrastinate. You're not going to get it done. So that was the first thing, Eat That Frog. And it's just really guarding your time, like how to do time management effectively. So that was one. Two was a book called Built to Sell, and it's by John Warillo, I think is how you pronounce his last name. This was given to me, and I feel like I bring her up every episode. My mentor, Audrey Chisholm, and
is your mentor.
This is my mentor, man, for good reason. And I had to get her on the pod one day, but she gave me this book, and it was during the time when I was actually trying to grow my design business. For those who don't know, I used to actually, my company Seeing Here is a boutique music house, but prior to that, it was actually a design company. We used to design and branding for different, nonprofits and record labels and musicians and artists and all this other kind of stuff. And Built to Sell, the whole idea behind it was learning how to productize your offerings as a business versus this customizable service model. And what that means is, if I'm like, I could come to say I'm trying to hire a coach or something like that. They may have standard coaching packages, but there may be the coach who will modify the offering based on the needs of the client. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself, but the idea behind it is that it's harder to standardize something that's always changing every time you have a new customer in the mix. And so this book is basically encouraging, say, like, hey, instead of having this business where everything is custom, like, you need to have some offerings in there that function like a convenience store or a grocery store, where if I go to Target or if I go to Publix or something like that, and I'm trying to get a box of cereal, I can't go to the cash register and ask them like, hey, can you make this Cinnamon Toast Crunch like half the box, like, tastes like Fruity Pebbles or something like it's like, no, what it is what you're going to pay for. If you don't like it, you need to go buy something different that maybe fits your needs, or go to a boutique cereal house that you can customize your cereal situation. You know what I mean? But the reason why that's so important, because it's easier to scale and build a system around something that is predictable, like has a predictable process. It's like every time we go to create this product, you know, there's a flow, you know what I mean? It's like, so I will, you know, it's like the cereal analogy. There's probably, they get the wheat, and there's probably a machine that's forming, you know, making it whatever shape it needs to be, and then it's putting the powder on it, and then it's bagging it up, and it's boxing it up, and it's shipping it out, and it's a systemized process that they can figure out how long it takes to do this thing, how much it's costing per unit, like how much is going to be in bulk, like how much it takes to deliver it to these stores, like, you know, what it's going to cost, like what type of overhead is going to be as far as expenses, you know, what's the return, like on set, like, and it just makes it that much easier when you have something predictable versus and that's even the approach that I took to my music career. Like, with licensing, I don't do a lot of custom jobs. So when I say custom jobs for licensing, is, you know, I got the opportunity to be one of the voices on the Proud Family. You know what I mean? The Proud Family,
which is crazy.
That he did, which is a super grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I got a song with Kirk Franklin because of it. You know what I mean? That I didn't realize, you know, what happened. But that was a custom job. Like, they had a very specific thing they needed. I had to go outside of my norm, like, but it was meeting the need at the time, and I did it. But those jobs for me are very few and far in between. Like, those are not my preference. Like, I'll do those when they align. It's something I can feel like I add value to, but I'm not going to different, you know, music houses or trailer houses doing a bunch of custom work. You know what I mean? Because it's too different. You know what I mean? Each time I like creating the product, aka our songs, and giving them to agencies for brands to decide if they want to use it as is or not. Because I have a process of how I create, you know what I mean? And it's like clockwork. I know how long it's going to take me to, you know, cook up a record. I know, like, the target, you know, that we're kind of aiming for with the sound. And once it's done, it's done. Like, I don't have to go back and make all the revisions. And if they do, we can, but this is not the norm. But that's just the way that I've set up, you know, our business, which is probably similar to yours, I'd imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's the whole idea behind this Built to Sell book. And it's learning how to make your music a product, you know what I mean? And less customization, you know, as a business, you know, or at least having a segment of your business that can be like, it's just fixed. This is how we do it every time. And we're not changing it for client requests typically, because, you know, we don't need to. It works, you know. And these are tested, validated things. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to throw something out there.
Right.
Like, I ain't switch. It's like, you got to test it. You got to put it out on the market, see if the market actually wants it. And if it does, can it be repeated? You know what I mean? That's the goal. So that's the second thing. Any notes on that? Because I know I'm kind of like,
no. I agree with that. I think in terms of like the question of, you know, how to pretty much get your time back, that is an excellent way to get your time back. Like, if you know what you're selling and sell that consistently, and if you ran it up once, you can run it up again, and just keeping that in mind and running with it. I love that. That's dope.
And it's measurable because there's less variables.
Yes, less variables, less mistakes, less questions. Yeah, and you can hone in on precision. And that's gold.
Yeah. So, next thing was Work the System. It's a book by Sam Carpenter. And this is how you actually, so we talked about having a system early on, you know, with Built to Sell, like identifying what is that process that you do every single time for whatever that product is. And the book Work the System actually teaches you how to like document that process so that you can hand it off to somebody else to work on your behalf. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what does this look like in an indie artist career where, you know, maybe there are ways that you're always exporting your stems, or maybe there's ways that you're always, deploying your social media reels or whatever. Like maybe there are ways that you're uploading songs to the DSPs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's a process that you don't even realize that you have every single time. And so the goal of Work the System is identifying what are those things that I do in my business that it doesn't take specialized knowledge in order to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And also, even if it does take specialized knowledge, how can you find the specialist to do the thing?
Yeah.
And do it the way how you would do it, because how you do it gets you the results that you like and that's
the crazy part.
You know what I mean? That works for your business, because it's like a lot of times you're thinking of handing something over to somebody. It's like, oh yeah, I want to hire somebody to do something for me. And I don't know if any, business owners have had that issue where you bring somebody in and you try to pass off, something that you're currently doing, and the person just doesn't do it how you would do it. And you're just frustrated because it's like, I told them how to do our training and they're just not doing it. I implore you to have a written, documented, step-by-step way, like, and they need to follow it to the T. That's how you minimize errors. And that's how, like, all of these, like, franchises are built off of SOPs, standard operating procedures, with us, it's short for. And it's just a game changer. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you start to really, get back your time, so that you're not having to worry about, even though in your mind it's like, oh, it's not going to take me that long. I think that's the indie trap, where it's like, it's not going to take me that long to do this thing. Like it's 10 minutes or whatever. What's that to? But you don't understand how much it's like. Think of your brain as like an energy bar, you know what I mean, on a game, you know what I mean? It's like, as you or like maybe on 2K when you're holding down the triggers and you try to sprint, if you holding down the triggers enough, like long enough, you just start to fatigue, you start to atrophy, and you want to save your mental strength for the things that require you to really like show up, not uploading songs to, Spotify. Like that's just not something that you need to be putting brain energy to, because somebody else can do that. And it's not because it's like, oh, and also I think sometimes the thought behind it is just like, oh, well, now I'm passing off work and I'm being like I'm being exploitative. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm giving lesser tasks to somebody. Like this is beneath me. It's like, no, man, like you're giving somebody the opportunity to do something that they're passionate about. You put people 100%. In position who are passionate about the things that they do. Don't find somebody who's not passionate about admin. You want somebody who's passionate about admin to do your admin. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah,
man. So that's Work the System. And then the next, so we did Eat the Frog, which is time management, Built to Sell, which is productizing your offerings, Work the System, which is building out standard operating procedures, SOPs, how to actually do that. And then Buy Back Your Time was something actually I just read last year. And by the title alone, like y'all should get excited, because this, like, 1000% lived up to its title. Like if you're looking to regain your time back as a business owner, as a musician, all that kind of stuff, this book was freaking phenomenal for me, man. Like, and it's helping you to, and it's kind of a summation of all the things, but one of the takeaways that I had from it was how to buy back your time. But one of the things they emphasized on was like one of the first hires you should make as a entrepreneur, business owner, is an executive assistant. And an executive assistant can handle scheduling. They're in your inbox. Like they're able to reply on your behalf. They can also help create systems for you. They can do some of these tasks that I'm mentioning before. They're kind of like the first phase of like, let's hand off the things that can be handed off to them as we're growing. And I cannot express to you how much time I've gotten back, like from having an assistant. Yeah, just in the mix. Like, I mean, Frank, like my assistant will schedule meetings with you for this podcast, for meetups, like our recap meetings for the camps that we do. Like, so much so I don't even sometimes know what's on my calendar. She tells me what's on my calendar every day.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. So, and And here it can be affordable. You know what I mean? And we can talk about affordability because there's places like Upwork and Fiverr and all these places where you can find affordable help. You know what I mean, for this for the season where you are. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that would be helpful because I think if you've made it this far in the episode, which I hope you have, you just gave the gems, these systems. You know what I'm saying? And I think as an indie artist, you know, the idea of, okay, these sound great, but these sound expensive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think it would be very helpful for an indie artist to know, like, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Right. You can do these things and be smart about it, and move in a certain way where these things, you can accomplish these things, get the help that you need, and relinquish some of that control and it not absolutely destroy your finances.
Yeah.
So that would be a great combo.
Yeah. So I want to touch on that a little bit, and we could probably even go deeper into that another episode. But
for sure.
So that's Buy Back Your Time. And then the last one was Who Not How. And so this is that, like, you know, this is that level where you're really operating in the kind of CEO function in a sense. Or actually operating, you're stepping deeper into it. And I say that as like, I'm still on my CEO journey, you know what I mean? So I don't have it all figured out. But these are things that made me feel like, oh, I feel like I'm running a business, you know what I mean? It's not just me, but this whole idea of, this book called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. And I alluded to it earlier, but it's the art or the practice of beginning to stop asking, like, how can I do this? Mm-hmm. And it's more so, who can do this for me?
Yeah.
And I think that's not just musicians, but just business across the board. You know, if we step into entrepreneurship in a sense of like, we got to figure out how to get this thing off the ground. And also you have limited resources and time, and it kind of bootstrap you in a way where I gotta figure out how we're going to do this. You know what I mean? And it's understandable, and it's probably still a place for it, but it is a challenging thought to start asking the question. And you can start as early as you want, like, who can I bring into this XYZ problem that I might be having that maybe has more expertise than me, more passionate about this thing, and put them in position to be able to run, you know what I mean? Because and I don't know if, artists have, and they actually say, like, this thing in a book where they say procrastination is I don't know if they say it was like a gift or it was something that it was something you wouldn't associate. Like, people think of procrastination as a negative thing, which I think to some degree it can be. There was like a positive side that they were saying to procrastination. And the angle that we're getting at is that procrastination is a signal to you that there's probably something that your brain is recognizing, hey, this is probably not for me because it's going to require a certain skill set that maybe I just don't have, or the interest to actually grow. And it's maybe not, beneficial for me to be doing this task. So I need to find somebody else to do it. And that's why I'm delaying doing it. You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a signal to your brain to, like, maybe I need to find somebody else that's better suited for this. That could,
make it happen.
Make it happen. You know what I mean? So that's a game changer when you start to make that shift. And it's, again, it saved me so much time, and it's given me even time to, do a podcast and all this other kind of stuff, because my team is executing other things that if I was in the mix of all the stuff that we do, from the community that we run, from the writing camps that we do, from, pitching music and signing licenses and paying vendors and uploading songs, like all that stuff that we do as a company,
have no time, bro.
I would have no time, to do that. So it's powerful. So I want to, kind of round this out and maybe talk about some,
for sure,
practical ways to really apply this. But I'm gonna take a breath. What do you think about all this, man?